pleasure to be here in this amazing event of Women in Tech Global Movement. I will come today just to leave you a short message. I want to talk about ethics and integrity. But before we start talking, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am a Portuguese lawyer. I'm also the president of the Chamber of Commerce Netherlands, Portugal, and founder of Humanity of Things. But the best times is when I'm Chief Legal Officer of Women in Global Tech. So that said, what do we have today in our schedule? We're going to talk about ethics and integrity. It's very important, and maybe more than ever, to bring to the tech environments the discussion on ethics and integrity. They are for sure the pillars of trust. And without trust, we cannot move forward in any of our projects, personal or business-wise. So what are we talking about when we talk about integrity and ethics? They are concepts, for sure not easy to explain. So back to basics. The definition of integrity brings us the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles. This said would need to take us to the definitions of what is honesty, what is having moral principles. Of course, we know that also depends on the cultural background and the understanding of each one of us. But at least we have some guidance. So we can say that we have a professional integrity, and we can say that we have personal integrity or artistic integrity. But we have a sense of the concept when we say that, no, I'm acting with full integrity here. So the behavior more than the concept is what show what integrity is. And then at the other side, we have the big concept of ethics. And ethics, it's also concerning these different levels. And mostly you hear it in codes of ethics, or sometimes also called code of conducts. We have it in different professions and different areas, different concepts per se. But in the end, we know that is the compass that guides us in our life. And these concepts of integrity and ethics, they are part of each other. You cannot talk about one without the other, as you cannot talk about ethics and integrity without talking about transparency and other principles, for sure, that we need to see. So with that in mind, we can talk about business ethics versus personal ethics. And is this so different? I would say that it's not. In the end, it's about applying the same concepts in different environments. But we still have this need, apparently, to divide these worlds. And as you see also in this image, we use this very simplistic approach of bad and good. And we know that life, it's not black and white. So you can never say that you have a complete personality in a sense of being a complete integrity or none. There's no such thing. There's different shades of integrity, or when we talk about the world of ethics, you never talk about black and white. And all of us during our life, either personal or professional, face the challenges of ethics behaviors or being in the side of integrity. As a good friend of mine used to say, integrity is also a matter of opportunity and circumstances. So when we are faced with some situations in our professional life and in our personal life, we know that it's not always clear how to proceed. But being in an organization like Women in Tech, for us, is very important to understand how to create this systems of support, even for our members or our volunteers, to understand how can they take their doubts. So if ever we need to have these discussions, we will have this team that will have the higher thought and try to reach the most adequate solution for the dilemmas that are presented. So team spirit, honesty, fairness are big parts of what we understand as elements for the success of a personal life, but also as a business or as a project like the amazing women in tech community. And I would like, without taking too much of your time, you have an ambitious day ahead with so many amazing speakers that will join us today. I would like to let you a small reminder, a small compass that can assist us all, and for sure assists me in my daily practices, in my daily life. It is not fair to ask of others what you are unwilling to do yourself. So in the realm of a community, in the realm of a project or your personal life, integrity is also taking care of behaving in a way that doesn't affect others, and that you do the right thing even when nobody is watching. So thank you so much for your time. I will be joining this amazing second day of this program, and stay tuned. Much more will follow.
Good afternoon, Karine de Meijer here from Costa Rica, still the CCO of the Women in Technology Global Movement, and I'm very honored today to invite Amandine Roche into the chat room with me and to chat with all of us about her incredible work for UN Women in Central African Republic. She is currently in Bangui. Before that, she did incredible humanitarian work in Afghanistan and other very, conflict-stricken areas. And we are going to be talking today about the work that she's doing in the UN for the UN Women in Bangui. She moved there last year, August, after we saw each other. And I'm also going to ask her a little bit about what's the current status of, the economic female empowerment in Bangui. Is there an opportunity for women in tech maybe to open up there a chapter in the future, since we have recently opened up a very successful chapter in Zambia? They're absolute our role models at the moment. The floor is yours, Amandine.
Thank you very much, Karen. It's an honor to be with you today and to connect with you. And thank you very much for inviting me. So yes, indeed, I moved to Central Africa last September. And actually, we are working with UN Women on 4 chapters. The first one is gender-based violence. The second one is economical empowerment. The third one is political and leadership. And the third one is the fourth one is women, peace and security. And what I realized when I moved here, I realized like nobody nowhere is Central Africa. Even nobody knows this country exists. It's like an unknown country, like a forgotten civil war crisis. And why I'm saying civil war is because 80% of the country is covered by rebels. And last January, unfortunately, on January 13 this year, the rebels come inside the Bangui capital and attack the civilian. So we have been living on emergency state, on embargo, and also what we need to know about this country, not only it's surrounded by Congo, Sudan, and Chad, which is not very peaceful countries, but also it's the third humanitarian crisis, which is the worst humanitarian crisis in the world after Syria and Yemen. But unlike Syria and Yemen, where they managed to fundraise $1 trillion, $5 million, Central Africa managed to fundraise only $160 million. So we are completely, and also what I need to mention, Central African Republic is almost the last country on the Human Development Index. What does it mean? It means it's the poorest country in the world. So talking about digital and technology in the poorest country in the world, it was a kind of challenging discussion and topic indeed, but at the same time, it makes sense more than ever now to speak about that, because we do believe with UN Women that's the future for women. And why I'm saying that, because with the amazing woman from our office, we decided to create the first digital platform for women, and we call it Buy It From Women. And it's an incredible platform because, as I say, it's a very poor country, but also in this country, there is no digital sale platform. It doesn't exist. There is no Amazon, there is no Alibaba. And so we, as UN Women, we say that's an opportunity to design this first digital platform, something very concrete and innovative. And this could benefit firsthand to the woman and not to, instead of Bezos, for instance.
That is so incredible. And it's actually connecting me to a talk I had yesterday with a woman called Sarah Evans. I actually interviewed her for the Change Now Summit, where the Global Women in Tech movement is also doing a wrap-up from our 24-hour virtual world tour, which you are part of today. And she spoke about all the initiatives she's doing on water management in Eastern Africa. And then she actually shared to me that people in Africa often have more a mobile phone, and that they do everything. They do their online payments, even their solar power, I mean, everything. So you can also use technology as a female empowerment tool. How do you see that?
Exactly. And that's why I'm telling you, that's a great opportunity, because what we realized, for instance, in this country, only 10% of the population is using a mobile phone. And it's like very poor, but at the same time, and also 10% of the citizens have a bank account using a mobile service provider, which is much lower, for instance, than the sub-Saharan Africa. And so we saw an opportunity indeed for the women to develop this digital platform and sell online, because like that, they don't need to have access to the bank institution. Because in Central African Republic, only 6% of the population has a bank account. Do you believe that? Only 6%, which is nothing. Wow. And it's only and 17% of the urban population have access to the bank account. So which means 0.8% of the rural population have access to the bank account. So with the digital platform, we say, well, in this case, you don't need a bank account. You just need to have your mobile phone, to buy online. And it's like that, giving access to all the country. Because when I say before 10% is not true, it's more than 50% of the population have access to a mobile phone. And like that is much bigger than to have access to a bank account, which means it gives more opportunity to sell online and to develop technology in this country. And so I mentioned to you, yes, it's a very poor country, and there is so much lack of economical opportunity that affect the women in this country. And women are half of the country, right? And so it's represent 50.2% of the population. So we want to reach out to all the household, and like that they can have access to productive access, which is difficult to have access, but like that we can also allow the women who are working in the farms, who are doing pottery, or we want to sell their product. For instance, during COVID, in order to avoid the plastic bucket, we developed a company of pottery. And like that, you do the bucket. Actually, I have one here, I can show you. So this type of pottery. And so we were just serving the water inside a jar like that, and instead of the plastic. And so all these poor women were doing the pottery and selling for raising the awareness about COVID, and another company of women were doing the soap. So now it's spread all around the country. So we want to sell that online, and it will be an amazing opportunity for women with this platform, Buy From Women, to have access not only to technology, but access to the product of farmer, product of social entrepreneurs in the ground. And we can also develop more activity with field trade and craft and agriculture and animal husbandry. I mean, like we have many ideas to improve the technology in Central Africa and to promote actually access to technology for climate resilience, for instance. We can help the partner of women's cooperative to move from more conservation agriculture to commercialization agriculture, because in Central Africa is disconnected from the capital. But if we sell it online like that, it would be an opportunity for the women, like the one to manufacture or washing kits, biodegradable, because it's clay-based, So on the clay, of course, it's ecological, right? And so it's good for climate change, and no more plastic in this country. And so we have many ideas like that of what we can sell online to increase the income of the woman affected by the crisis. So it's also could target the victim of gender-based violence. It could target the internal displaced woman because of the civil war. They are living into a camp. So, and we are working right now with around 2,000 vulnerable women, actually, from 60 cooperatives. So we want that all these women who are supported in fish farming, gardening, agriculture, to put all their products online. And like that, we can increase their economy, because we can develop more their production and distribution thanks to technology, thanks to digital, because it will be the first one ever in the country, as I mentioned to you. It doesn't exist so far in Central Africa.
That is so wonderful to hear. And I mean, as we spoke about before, I mean, it has been always my passion. I actually was at the launch of the UN SDG goals in September 21 or 2015, 21st September 2015. And I remember sitting in the audience and not once hearing the word connectivity or technology. And I remember thinking, how are you going to achieve these goals by 2030? If you do not, bridge that gap and bring in the last mile, the people that are hardest to reach. And I think the only way to do it is through technology. And I think it's wonderful that you and I will be working on that, hopefully in the future, much, much more, because I really think it's a clear mission. Even where I'm now in Costa Rica, I mean, there are a lot of children, who are unable to have access to online education. In America, at this moment, there are 11 million children who have not been able to educate themselves online. And so these children are building up this enormous gap. And, in Africa, that's, of course, even many, many more. Although, according to the BBC, and by 2039, they say Africa is the future continent, I mean, if you look at Kenya, for example, 50% of the population is lower than 45, I think. So, I do not know about that in Central African Republic. But maybe, because we only have a couple more minutes, would you be able to share with us some highlights of your almost year in the Central African Republic?
Yeah, I have to say thank you for asking, Karin. And I'm glad you mentioned that about technology, because I've been working in Afghanistan more than a decade on and off, and I realized where we were just launching mobile phone in 2000 in Europe, in Kabul, everybody got their mobile phone, like they shifted from nothing to a mobile phone. And so, yes, technology, okay, it's the poorest country in the world, but they can adjust to the world right now, and it's a great opportunity. So the highlight of my work here, well, I have to say it's a very challenging country, a very draining country, and at the same time, very rewarding. And why I'm saying that? Because of the woman. The women in this country are so courageous and so resilient, and they taught me respect and dignity. And I have to say that, yeah, it's a beautiful lesson I've learned from them. And all the highlights, we have been working crazy on women political participation. So we organized an amazing peace march with 2,000 women from civil society, all wearing in white and asking for security for the election and peaceful election, and a non-violent march. And we did that on December 10, which was the celebration of a Human Rights Day, but also to end the 16 days of violence against women. So it was to send a strong message to the government, say, we are the future, please listen to our voice. And so we managed to train 245 candidates for legislative election. And we train them on their campaign, how to fundraise, how to speak in public, how to convey a message, how do you have a campaign team. And for women, they are so brave. They have to face all the rebels. So they've been sequestrated and they've been intimidated. One have been raped, several have been robbed. And despite that, they're still on the field and they believe that they want to have a seat at the National Assembly. And they want to be part of the municipalities, the local election that will take place next year. We also create a green line, which is a line when you can call when you are a victim of violence. We create also an amazing workshop with all the journalists just to change the narrative and to speak about women, unsung heroine in this country, because we realize that the mission of the rebels is a total annihilation of the woman in this country. So the mission of UN Women is to put all these women into the light of national light and international light, because they are half the country and we are just tired of reading about civil war, fighting and corruption, whatever, when at the end, in this country, there is so much beauty, so much harmony, so much femininity. So we need to bring more of this feminine power, to unlock this feminine power in the country. And we believe that's the answer from Central Africa, but it's also the answer for the world.
Yeah, well, I think it's so beautiful because we actually met in Davos, I remember, and I had just given a talk at the Female Quotient, and I remember that my talk was about how women transform the world from within. Because, I mean, as you know, well, it's a very male-dominated arena, and women were actually not very welcome because they brought in the soft skills, different leadership skills, different topics that they wanted to focus attention on, the human topics. And I think that's exactly what you are doing in Central African Republic. You are empowering the women, to be able to stand in their strength and their power and to stay true to their nature. And I remember that beautiful picture of you in your red dress that you're wearing right now with all these women. And it was like saying, we are here and we are staying here and we are going to, do the best for this country. And I think they're all, for their children, such role models. So I want to thank you for, I think it's so beautiful that we are connected through technology, Costa Rica, Central African Republic. I mean, I'm in the most remote place with the only dirt road left in a country. You are also, in the middle of Africa. And I'm extremely.
I'm in my container. I'm in a container.
Yes, but I'm extremely proud of the work that you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you, Karin. And we are stronger together. I believe that. And indeed, what I realized, when a woman has been raped, she's losing her essence. So our work is just to restore human dignity and offering them the opportunity to have a job and to be independent financially. It's really a way to freedom to become a leader in the country and to face the fossilized patriarchy in Central Africa.
Totally. Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.